Welcome back to the Spar Scene MMA Show. I'm joined alongside Ducky and Bradley. And today we're going over Connor and Chandler announcement. Then we're going to dig into some of our 2024 previews. We're back. We're glad to be back in the studio after a little break. Got a lot to talk about today. But like I just said, to start it off, we're going to talk about McGregor announcing on Twitter and social media that he's fighting Michael Chandler on June 29th for International Fight Week at 185 pounds. Now, the question is, do you believe that's actually at 185 pounds? Or will this fight even happen?
It was like equal parts exciting and equal parts underwhelming at the same time. Like, we've been waiting so long that is exciting just to think, okay, is the reality's really going to have a fight? But then the 185 thing comes in, which I guess my concern right away is this going to turn into just two overblown lightweights that didn't cut, slinging and banging for like maybe 2.5 minutes, and they're going to gas. I don't know. Both these guys also do both gas after a round and a half. And then sometimes they get some, like maybe a late wind. Like you see that third round against Khabib. Like Connor did all right for a second. He was doing all right. He was staying on his feet. And then Chandler also has those moments where he comes in and out, like but when he fought Eddie Alvarez. But when he fought Eddie Alvarez, that was like 10 years ago. So I have concerns about that weight. Is that like, all things aside, are we looking at that as him making excuses? Like, does he not want to cut weight? Why is he doing this? Why would that weight? Is it a not wanting to cut thing?
I think it goes back to the Ultimate Fighter, to be honest. That the only viral clip of the whole season, it was such a boring season. The one viral clip was Connor saying, "You do what you're told" at 185. I think that's
that
the
they
reason
edited too.
Yeah. So I think that's the reason he said 185, just to get that hype going again. Like you said, we had to wait so long to get this announcement, and now we get the announcement. I have to wait 6 more months or 5 more months, right? So it's like you keep us waiting, and then you make us wait longer. We all want it to be UFC 300, and apparently it's not going to be, which I think is a huge letdown in my opinion. But we'll see. I think it will be a quick fight. These guys don't have a gas tank, especially at 185. Chandler goes for it from the opening bell, so he's gonna go right at it in the first round, try to make a statement. I think Chandler can win this fight, even though he's gonna be 5'6", 185 pounds. I think he's still gonna win. The dudes, have you noticed like his last fight, how the gut on Michael Chandler just like sticks out? It's like he's
a muscle
pregnant.
gut, though.
Dude, it's like
muscle, but it's a gut. It's like weird.
It's a juice gut. It's a juice gut. USADA's not there anymore. He's gonna have an even bigger gut. His wife is a doctor, so she has all the ins and outs to the drug scene. So she's gonna be give everything that the new drug administration is testing. She's gonna get around it, and he's gonna be ripped at like 5'6", 185, and he's gonna be coming from Chandler's chair for coming for McGregor's chin.
I feel like the problem with this is that we waited so long for announcement, and Dana said before Connor tweeted that he was going to make the announcement on the New Year's Day. Dana's like, "Oh, we're gonna make more announcements after the holiday." So I thought this would be like a UFC announcement, right? Like a UFC post it. Like, and that's why I was a little disappointed, because then you see the video, it's Conor McGregor with like 4 wine glasses deep, his wife's filming it. He's taking it super like unserious. It's like, is this real? And then he says 185 and he laughs. It's like, what? Like, what's going on?
It says come a little closer. The weights.
I was a little confused too, because International Fight Week's usually in July, so they must have pushed it back.
Yeah.
It's confirmed. I guess they did confirm that it is International Fight Week. So I don't know. I believe it somewhat, but part of me thinks it's kind of a fluke. But I don't think it will actually be at 185, though. I think it will be at 170.
170 is fine. Also, I think we all have to eat our words, because we all poo-pooed when Simon was like, "Oh, well, they won't be able to do this at 300 because it's not a title fight as a main event." Turns out that's essentially the thing. And they're setting it up like the Connor card versus Cowboy back in the day, when that was one of the rare exceptions where it wasn't a title main event. But it's just, I love both guys. But I think like Chandler's wife has 2 jobs. She's just sitting on there. She's got like 2 spreadsheets when Michael is cycling on and off, and then how to adopt more kids. And she's just got those 2 boxes, just line them up. But like, there is something to that. That gut is legit. Like, I'm not casting aspersions here, but people used to make that excuse about GSP too. They used to say that maybe because he had that kind of protruding like upper ab thing, and maybe he was on HGH. I don't know. He denies it. I mean, everyone denies it. Of course, they're going to deny it. Why would they admit to this stuff? But
it's not the Josh Emmett gut. It's a different gut.
That's
Josh Emmett has the upper abdomen sticking out, the big barrel chest. Yeah. Chandler's just like straight gut, like straight to the core, just puff daddy.
Also, who knows with USADA and the new testing? Like, there hasn't really been any announcements on that yet. So I don't know. Maybe they can slip in a cycle before they got to go into camp. Well, I guess Chandler said he started camp yesterday. So
yeah, maybe that's why we see Masvidal trying to come back, because of the testing is going to be more lenient. He's I can be younger again. I can be faster, stronger, recover quicker. So maybe that also plays into, on a side note, to Masvidal trying to come back this year.
Way to slip that in. Which
we can talk about that.
Yeah, Masvidal had come up with a little bit of Instagram notice, which it is kind of weird. Like what you said, Simon, is like when Conor makes this announcement, he's doing it on his own personal Instagram, like through a video. It's not on UFC programming. And it's the same thing with Jorge. Jorge said unretired. He did that whole dance, and there's that idea that he might come back. I mean, he's not totally washed. If you put Jorge with somebody who's like of his age and that amount of wear and tear, he's still fun to watch. But man, I mean, there was a part of me that wished that they had made Conor versus Masvidal. I feel like the two of those guys really complement each other. That would both throw hands. That would be fun. And the build-up, it's somebody who can talk with Conor, whereas Michael does struggle a bit with that because Conor's such a good just trash talker. And it's like Michael's kind of like that youth pastor. You know what I mean? He's super inspirational, but he's not like he's not a mean guy. Like he seems like a nice guy, to be honest with you. But that's my thing.
Yeah, I think McGregor can say, "Oh, let's do 205," and Chandler would agree to it because it's like McGregor's my daddy, you know. Like he does whatever he says, which is like he's going to take advantage of it. McGregor is right; he's going to use it to his advantage. And I heard someone say, I forgot who it was, like the Jose Aldo fight and Donald Cerrone fight. He got in their heads. What if he does the same thing to Chandler? I think Chandler is more talented. I think he's quicker, faster, stronger, more skilled. But I think McGregor could win because of the mental game. And Chandler is just too – he lets it get in his head too much, I think. I could come back to bite him, even though I think he is a better fighter.
Are there any fights for Jorge at 300?
Who would he – I mean – who would he come back to fight? Nate Diaz and Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz is done. Maybe Nate Diaz again. They run it back.
What about Colby? Stephen Thompson?
The rematch against Wonder Boy.
Yeah.
Or am I crazy? Maybe Justin Gaethje to go for the BMF belt, like reclaim the BMF belt. He's going to get wrecked, but it's
I don't know if I think Gaethje would be a huge favorite in that. I mean,
at this point, I would hope so. I should hope
Poirier. No, Poirier teammates or other teammates.
Would be interesting, man. That would be interesting too. But I think Dustin's still a little fresh.
Or so I think coming. You know, even Ian Gary, dude, he'd be the kind of guy. I know he's fighting. What's this dude's name? Jeff
Neal.
Yeah, so he wasn't fighting, but I think he's the kind of guy who would fight an older, washed-up guy, kind of like a Jake Paul, right? Fight the older guys who are washed up to get a name to get more hype. He could do that, you know. But I think, of course, that's too short notice.
So a lot of people don't realize why whenever I go to jiu-jitsu, I always show up really early, and I make sure to pop into the kids' open mat so I can just dominate everybody, dude. And I put those on my highlight reel because I'm just styling, dude. Just reverse De La Hiva on like a 6-year-old, dude. That's it. That's when my skills really thrive, when they can't fight back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I see Jorge as like that guy who's just looking to cash a check at this point. I hate to say it. He's like trying to come back and make a little more cashola. Maybe he saw how bad Colby performed and he's like, man, I can beat that version of Colby. We do a rematch or something like that. I mean,
I wonder how
he got dominated, but he stayed in there. So
I wonder how his promotion's doing. The Game Bread FC. I wonder if that's
It's
struggling
popular on
now.
YouTube.
Now is the guy need some more cash and to get back into the game. You know, that could be. I don't know how it's doing. It could be doing great. You know, but maybe something's up
I
and
don't
he
know.
needs some more money. I don't know.
I
Or he
think a
just
lot of
misses the sport.
Yeah, I think a lot of fighters just retire and they definitely kind of miss that discipline and just having something to do, you know, having a camp to go into. That's where they feel the healthiest. Like Volkanovski said, you know, he got down mentally without fighting. So, and Jorge, like you guys said, even with USADA, Jorge's like, man, I think I can still compete. He saw Kobe, he saw the USADA. So who knows? We may see him at 300. It's just there's so many up and coming guys right now, and it's hard to like for these old dogs to find fights. Like,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Like, I think the UFC in a good way has turned to like, you know, promoting more of the up and coming guys.
Volkanovski, I'm afraid he's gonna be one of those fighters who goes too long.
Oh yeah,
Because like a Tony Ferguson.
like BJ.
Because he's not gonna want to stop. And he's the type of guy to just he's gonna keep going. He's gonna get beat over and over, of course, in the end, and he's just gonna keep believing in himself and keep pushing. And I hate to see he's such a nice guy and he's smart, you know, he has his own cooking show or whatever, like he has his stuff together. But I think he's just too determined and believes in himself too much to quit when he gets time. He'll be one of those guys, in my opinion. And it's not anytime soon. I give him probably 3 or 4 more years, but yeah, I'm afraid that's going to be his case.
Dan Hooker style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that leads us to the next part. I want to hear you guys' hot takes for this coming 2024 UFC season or MMA season. We could talk a little bit of MMA, but if you guys have any hot takes or any predictions, a big one from last year was Sean Strickland, obviously winning the middleweight title. That's a huge one. So do you guys see anything like that? Like anybody else who can just come out of nowhere and win a title? Anybody who can be dethroned? Like we just said, Volkanovski. There's so many options that we could pick from. I just want to hear what you guys think.
Just this is a quick one. If there's anyone out there like a dark horse, I believe in Benoit Saint Denis.
Oh,
I think he can be one of those guys that kind of makes a jump, makes a splash in the top 5, top 3, possibly gets a title shot. Maybe it's 2025, but I think he's a guy that can make his way into the top 3, top 5 this year. But that's one of the dark horses. However, there's one guy who's not really a dark horse that I believe will take the title. His name is Merab Balashvili. He's going to beat Cejudo in February. He's going to get his title shot against O'Malley. He's going to take the belt. I think that's the big fight this year is Merab versus O'Malley. And I think Merab's going to take his title, and that'll be that. That's my big, I would say, prediction for this year.
Okay,
I like that one.
There's a bigger conversation about that too, about how the sport needs to move towards like a meritocracy versus star power. Because the thing with Merab is that he is one of the best fighters in the world, but yet because people don't respond with, you know, t-shirts, you know, they don't want to push him as hard. But we need to get to that point in this sport where it's as serious as tennis, where it doesn't matter if the guy's marketable, he still won. It just is what it is. Like they won. Completely counter to that conversation though. This is totally different. This is a little bit of a 300 prediction that I just been racking my brain and obsessing about, like what kind of big fight can they make? And I think this is something that this is my prediction or one of my predictions. I think that we got Yuri on that card. He was knocked out not too many cards ago, but there's other 2 guys from that card that didn't really take much damage either. And I think if you're looking for a super fight, one that's like generational, you know, you could have Alex Pereira moving up to heavyweight and maybe facing Tom Aspinall for the heavyweight championship, maybe that interim heavyweight belt on the line, light heavyweight champion, middleweight champion, heavyweight champion, to be the first guy to ever actually accomplish it. If he does accomplish it, which he most likely wouldn't, but something about it, those 2 boys have been a little quiet on social media. It just seems like maybe we're sneaking up on something with that announcement. I don't know. But I just feel like that could be something. I think they really love this belt jumping thing in the UFC. This idea of like multiple like weight classes. I can just see that. I don't know why. I'd fear for Alex Pereira's life, but I think it could happen.
That'd be a good fight.
I've seen that online. People have kind of said the same thing, and I can see it happening. I mean, and Alex Pereira is super remarkable too. So,
newly single Alex Pereira.
Oh yeah.
Watch out.
So about kind of bouncing off that, it's not super hot, but it's a prediction. I think Israel Adesanya is going to get the middleweight title back this year. I think that he's going to. He was fighting too many fights. That Sean Strickland fight, he wasn't. he just was fighting too soon. He wasn't super prepared. He admitted it. I think this longer break's going to give him time to come back. I don't know if we're fighting a title fight next. Maybe he'll do a warm-up fight, but I think either that or the next fight he's going to fight for the championship belt and he's going to get it back. I don't know who's going to fight, DDP or Sean Strickland, but I think he's going to get it back.
I disagree.
That's my hot take.
Simon, you got Hamzat, or I should say how you say it, Hazmat Shamayev.
I said Hamzat.
You said Hazmat. Go back and watch it. I'm just kidding. Hamzat Shamayev. He's going to take the middleweight belt, in my opinion. I think Strickland will beat Duplessis. Adesanya can take the belt from Strickland, and then I do believe Chimaev and Adesanya will probably take place later this year. I think Chimaev gets that win. That's my other prediction for this year. So Osmont takes over the middleweight, and then Merab takes over the bantamweight.
Ooh.
Those are the two title turnovers in 2024.
Okay. I've got a title changing hands, but it's sort of the promotional gimme title that they give to the aging action fighter who still destroys everybody, but can't beat that one guy from the Caucasus regions who has really good takedowns. And that's going to be Charles Oliveira. I think he's going to end the year as the BMF champion, dude, because in reality, he is the real BMF. Let's be just be real.
Yeah.
He is a freaking savage. He's an action fighter. I mean, like shoot the box, every single guy from there. I'm so excited for this year. That's actually part of it. You got Felipe Dos Santos, who made his debut last year. We called that Manel Kopp fight was going to be amazing, and it was. Yeah. It was so quick. And then Elvis Brenner. This guy is like on a secret little tear. Yeah. Shoot the box, like he's got that crazy shifting style with his punches. He goes all out. His ground game is not terrible. He's able to hold his own and get out of trouble. But I've been watching some of his stuff and just kind of going back through it. And man, he's got some lightning in his hands. He's knocking people stiff. And I could just see like a big year for all three of those guys. But I mean, I'm a huge Charles fan. I would love to see him just have a big year. I don't know if he ends, maybe another shot at 155. Being a huge fan of him, I don't know if I really want to see him against Islam again, though. It just is like a bad style matchup. It's just a bad style matchup. But my hope is that Charles has a big year and some kind of gold, even if it's the BMF gold. We love you, Charles.
Yeah, I would like that. Him versus Gaethje would be that stylistically, that's a better fight than him versus Islam.
He already finished him once.
Yeah. That's a great BMF fight. Damn, good job, Alex.
Thanks, man.
I like that too. I'm gonna bounce off that as well. I'm a huge Charles fan, but like you said, I want to see some fun fights with him. I don't see him beating Islam again, unfortunately. But my hot take, I think I know who can beat Islam. I think Arman Sarukian is gonna beat Islam this year. He gave him a good fight in 2019. He's on a good win streak right now. I don't know. I can see him beating Islam. I think he's proven that he has what it takes. And I would like to see that happen. So
that division is very old, by the way. There's a lot of guys like 35, 34, maybe 36. So many guys in that top 15, probably at least 5 or 6 of them that are going to be probably their last year, 1 or 2, maybe one more year. But after that, we're going to see a new crop of talent come in there. And I think that's when we're going to see someone, just come out of nowhere, maybe upset Islam. Some younger fighter right now that we don't really know about. They're going to come in there in like a year or so. These older guys are retired and getting washed up. And I think that's going to work. This division is going to be very exciting in a year.
Yeah. I think Armin's probably going to fight UFC 300 against Charles, in my opinion, unless they do Charles and Justin Gaethje, which I think would be better. But
yeah,
I feel like Armin's just like looks so explosive recently. I feel like he has what it takes to beat Islam.
His cardio is
just we're have to find out.
He's got hands now too, which he didn't have in the first fight. That's the one thing. And then also Islam has now these kicks, that open stance body kick. It's an incredible matchup.
I feel like he can fight like Volk in the first fight, right? You know what I mean? So
yep, that's true.
Except with the rest,
and he's bigger
in the defense. So
yeah.
Dude.
So in other news, another drama. I'm not sure if you guys saw the Ian Gary response to Sean Strickland's podcast with Theo Vaughn. There's some savages, man.
Yeah.
There's some savages, dude. They have no remorse. I hope these guys can fight each other. I know there's different weight classes, but if Ian Gary's a real one, he'll go up and fight Sean.
Head up there. You know, this is my opinion on Sean
not gonna
Strickland.
happen.
I love Sean Strickland like as a personality, but I will say this: as a fighter, I think everyone's going to be very disappointed this year.
And Sean,
I'm not going to get any fans for saying that. I don't think I'm going to get any fans because I know people love him, and I get it. I get it. He's cool. It's like the Diaz thing. He's cool. He's like an antisocial, anti-hero. It's cool. But DDP about to come on that shit.
No.
He's about to beat him, I think. He knocked out Rob Whitaker.
Nah,
Sean
he's too
Strickland knocked out
dude.
Abbas. Abbas
Robert
Magomedov,
Whitaker.
you know?
Robert Whitaker. Yeah. Robert Whitaker.
Abus.
That's true.
Yeah.
Robert Whitaker, in my opinion, is very, very overrated.
I think that division's just weak in my
Quit
opinion.
the show.
He's overrated, dude. He beats who? Vittori Cannonier, who just now started improving, like in the past few months, past year.
Dude, that's the problem with the division, though, dude. It's weak. It's like
it's so weak, and
they're not. You can't get quality wins unless you fight like the top two guys.
Quality guys. There's only 2 or 3 that are like
DDP.
Like Chimaev had to fight Usman, a welterweight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They had to bring him up because they couldn't find anybody else from the fight. Like there, no one
It's
wants
so
to
weak.
fight in that
It's a weak
division.
class. I think Strickland wins, and then I think Chimaev fights Strickland and takes over the belt. That's my prediction for this.
I feel like Chimaev doesn't fight enough, in my opinion. I feel like he's got one more year until he gets the title. I think Izzy gets it, then Chimaev gets it the next year.
This is the year.
Chimaev takes it. Well, also,
Yeah.
I
I think he needs 1 or 2 more fights. But who knows?
Yeah,
Injuries in a weak division. I think he can do. Because he doesn't fight enough. I think that's why I'm skeptical. Like I think he can beat Izzy for sure.
He has
I
to
agree
fight
with you.
300.
But like for this year, I think that for sure. Like
the
He has
hands.
to-
His hands messed up for the surgery.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would go
Still.
300 as well. But that's
That's what I'm
messed up.
saying. He only has like 2 fights this year. Like, do you think his second one's going to be for the championship?
Has to be.
That's why I got Izzy, man. I got
Is he on
Izzy
the
will end
comeback
the year
now?
with the title, and then they're going to set up Chimaev for that title.
Let's
fight.
see.
Well, let's
Who would
not
he
forget
fight?
the problem with Khamzat is he can't fight in the United States. He can't. They can't get his visa cleared because of Ramzan Kadyrov.
Dude,
So
it's
they
so
can't
hard
get
to
him
get him
cleared.
to fight. Exactly.
So he has to fight in the Arab Emirates. So what do you do?
October.
Do you
card.
have a title fight like there? Like, does he beat? Like, imagine flying Strickland to the Arab Emirates to get finished. I mean,
It's
dude,
not happening.
that's a bad cash. Like, it's bad business. But then again, I also say this: Khamzat right now is my favorite fighter. I'll be honest. Him and Shopkat,
So
I have a lot of respect
entertaining.
for those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just nonstop, and like the way
Yeah.
I see his interactions with people. Like, you see that video where that little girl comes up and talks to him, about her family being killed, and she wants to like come train with him and all this stuff. And you see his reaction, man. He's like, I think he's an honest guy. I know he's a little crazy and wild and everything, but I got respect. I do love me some Adesanya, though, dude. I was thinking about like my favorite KO of the year, and like when he came back and finished Alex, that's like classic all time, like settling the score. I'm like, dude, it just sucks that his next fight after that was like,
Yeah.
He just wasn't
Thanks.
ready, man. He just wasn't. He's fighting way too much. He was getting caught up in just too much stuff. I don't think he was ready for that. I think this break's going to help him.
can you talk to him, Simon? Can you?
Yeah,
can you call
I
this
DM
guy
him
back?
every day, and he doesn't reply. So I don't know what's going on.
We'll get him on the
Acting like
show.
he don't know.
We'll get him on the show and
Yeah,
ask him.
he'll be on the show. We're asking why. He's booked for April, I think. We're gonna talk to the booking manager. All right. Well, there's really not much other news to talk about. I did see today that Bilal Muhammad's going to go to Dagestan to train for UFC 300 against Leon. Not super entertaining news, but if you guys want to touch on that, you guys can.
Well, it's also UFC 300 is a week after Ramadan. So, or we are 2 weeks after, or something like that. But it's in his training camp, and it's like late in his training camp. So I think that could have an effect on just his body, his cardio, his strength. I don't know, man. I think Leon's gonna keep it. He's gonna keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's. I mean, we've seen the fight though. That's the thing. We saw this fight. Like, people act like we didn't see this fight. Hasn't it happened twice? Like, that's the thing. We've seen it happen a couple of times. And like in the last one, he got like head kicked and it messed up his eye or something like that.
Yeah, he got stabbed.
But yeah, it needs to happen. It needs to happen just so that he can get his opportunity. And I don't mean to, hate on anybody's religion, but man, I would forget about everything. If this was my opportunity, I was Bilal, I'd be like, I'm going to eat whatever forever, because here's the problem. He's not the guy that they're going to be calling every single time to be like, oh, come and fight. We need you to fight again, fight for a title. They don't give him those opportunities.
This might be his only chance.
Make it. I mean, he's got to go for it, man. He's got to employ the same thing he did with Sean Brady. He has to walk Leon down, and he has to get up in his grill. He cannot do what Colby did. If you stand far away from him, he's going to chew you up. I don't care if his foot was broken, whatever happened, he just stayed at range and it didn't work. So he's got to get in there and just try to wrestle and try to make this dirty. It has to be like a clinch fight. But the problem is Leon's excellent in the clinch. And when he breaks the clinch, he hits you with elbows. So I actually really like Bilal. Yeah. But I just don't see him taking it. I just don't know if he can.
Don't get me wrong. I think that he's better. He got better after he went to Dagestan and Khabib. So I think he's going to put up a better fight than maybe what we think. I think it's a good thing he's going there, but I don't see him winning it. I mean, that might be one of the more boring UFC 300 fights, but it will be a title fight. So we got that somewhat to look forward to. But there's some other fights to look forward to.
We got Rose Namajunas versus Carla Esparza 3. And the audience is just going to get up and leave.
Headlining 300.
Let's go to the Golden Nugget. Let's get out of here.
So that pretty much sums up the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. We're going to do more of these. We post every week, so go ahead and check it out. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you guys check out the Instagram and the TikTok. You guys can see above me right there. You guys can check it out. But yeah, we'll see you guys next week with some more news. And then we got finally a fight night coming up. Johnny Walker and Ankalaev. So yeah, we look forward to that, and we'll see you guys next time.